Coming to Kickstarter this June, John Haynes at Death's Door, the man who rules the world, takes on the Greek god of death in this action-packed all-new John Haynes comic book. Get your copy of the standard and variant editions of John Haynes at Death's Door and lots of other great stretch goal rewards on Kickstarter this June. One of my viewers wanted me to do a review of BET's Black Panther. Now, back in 2011, BET decided to create an adaptation of the popular Marvel superhero Black Panther for its cable network. And it commissioned Reginald Hudlin's production company to create this adaptation of Black Panther, which is actually based on his run with the character in Marvel Comics. Now, the animation on Reginald Hudlin's adaptation of Black Panther for BET reminds me a lot of the animation in the old Marvel superheroes cartoons from the 1960s, such as Captain America, Iron Man, Mighty Thor, and Submariner. And in this type of animation, you don't really get much movement of the characters, but you do get to see the story played out in a way similar to that of a motion comic, with minimal animation but a heavy focus on the action. Now, the art style from your Reginald Hudlin's Black Panther run came from legendary comic book artist John Romita Jr., and his style is presented on screen in a very well done way with this motion capture animation. So the technical aspects of the Black Panther animation, they capture the spirit of the old 1960s Marvel superhero show, but they bring things up to date for the 21st century. Now, along with the motion style animation, we get some big stars doing the voices here, and those include Diamond Hunsu doing the voice of T'Challa at the Black Panther, your Kerry Washington doing the voice of Shuri, Alfred Woodard doing the voice of the Queen and one of the government officials, and Jill Scott doing the voice of Storm. Now, this Black Panther series takes place over 6 episodes, and it covers the storyline from your Reginald Hudlin's run on the book. Now, the first episode was a very interesting one. It basically laid out the world of Wakanda and laid out the entire nation of Wakanda and how it had never been conquered by Europeans. So the people of Wakanda have a different viewpoint than that of your traditional Africans or even African Americans. So that was one of the things that I saw was very positive about your Hudlin's adaptation of Wakanda, is we got to see a bit of the mindset of Wakandans as related to how they perceive the world. And the way a Wakandan sees the world is very different than most of people who have been in colonized countries, most black people who were in colonized countries. So that's something that really would be a surprise to a lot of people who are used to the colonized mindset of always looking to defer to whites. But one of the things I liked about the Black Panther series is none of the Africans in Wakanda are looking to submit to whites, defer to whites, or make deals with whites. And it shows how they have a strong sense of self-worth and a strong sense of self-esteem, and that's something that I think a lot of viewers would get inspired from seeing that first episode as related to the whole country and the culture of Wakanda. That's one of the things Reginald Hudlin did do well with his run on Black Panther. From what I'm seeing from these episodes is we get a sense of black pride from the episodes that are from the first episode, and in that first episode we see black people who are not looking to back down to whites or go out here and make compromises with whites. Now, that's what starts with the first episode, where they talk about how the nation of Wakanda was never conquered, and even during war they didn't get involved with affairs like when Nazis tried to come to Wakanda. They had Captain America coming in on a mission to try to get some help from the Wakandans, and the Wakandans didn't need the help of Captain America at all. That was something that really made me smile, was seeing the Wakandans basically standing up to all of these different nations and letting them know that they can handle their own business, because that's what strong men who are leaders do. They're like, if I need help, I will ask you for help, and I don't want you coming in trying to get help from me or trying to call yourself helping me. If I need something, I'll let you know. Otherwise, we've got this taken care of. And that was one of the positive traits of the first episode. And as the first episode goes on, we get introduced into the whole contest as related to the Black Panther. And we also get some storylines and intrigue as related to politics going on around Wakanda. So the contest to take over the Black Panther, who is T'Challa's uncle in this adaptation, your T'Challa goes in and takes the mantle of the Black Panther and then begins working on developing the nation of Wakanda and setting a direction for the nation of Wakanda. And as he's setting this direction for the nation of Wakanda, we've got some political intrigue going on as related to the previous Black Panther, T'Challa's father, and we've got your Ulysses Klaue looking to build up some sort of campaign to invade Wakanda and overthrow the Wakandan Empire. So there's a lot of different pieces moving in these multiple storylines, and each of the multiple storylines flow nicely together and build up to a very satisfying conclusion over the 6 episodes that go on. Over the course of the 6 episodes, we learn a lot about how T'Challa's father was assassinated, T'Challa's plans to try to get justice and avenge his father, and we also learn about Ulysses Klaue going out here to recruit a whole group of supervillains to help invade Wakanda. Now he goes out here and he recruits the Juggernaut as they are fighting the X-Men, and then he goes out and recruits Batroc the Leaper, a classic Captain America villain, and the Black Knight, who's I think his name is Nathan Garrett. He gets the Nathan Garrett version of the Black Knight, who usually is dead in the Marvel comics at the time, but he brings him in for this adaptation, and he makes him into one of these religious zealots, and this religious zealot is ready to go out here and invade Wakanda, showing us the white supremacy that goes on as related to the global system of white supremacy. That's another interesting concept that's presented here. We get to see the global system of white supremacy as related to trying to colonize and conquer this black nation. Another great piece as related to the political intrigue going on as related to the international affairs, because we've got multiple countries going out here and sponsoring villains like Ulysses Klaue and the gang that he's trying to put together to take over Wakanda. And as the storylines build up into the 5th episode, we start to see the invasion plan start for the invasion of Wakanda. And that's when the action really starts to pick up its pace, and we start to see how the Black Panther comes out to solve all of these problems. Now, one of the only issue I had with the Black Panther series was the pacing of the entire story. I felt that if they had paced it a little better, we might have gotten a far more compelling story. Now, this is a hallmark I see with a lot of Reginald Hudlin productions. He oftentimes goes into too much exposition, and it really hurts the action of the story. Now, over the course of the 6 episodes, yes, we get some very good action, but the pacing, as I saw it, could have been a little bit better, because everything builds up into the 4th and 5th episodes, and then by the 6th episode, it's like you're just rushing the story along, where the Black Panther just comes in on his cycle, takes out most of the bad guys, saves Shuri. I don't want to give away too much of this series, even though it is over about 10 years old. These episodes are still a lot of fun. They're still very fresh, and I want people to go out here and enjoy these episodes of Black Panther. Now, again, Hudlin does a good job here with adapting the characters based on his own material. And even though he makes some deviations, he does stay true to the spirit of the Black Panther character as it was in the comics at the time. So he does a very good job of staying true to the characters' hearts. But a lot of the little modifications, those are things that did annoy me. I wasn't a fan of seeing a character, Nathan Garrett, who has been dead for years, being brought back when your Dane Whitman was the Black Knight at the time. And I also wasn't a big fan of the way the Juggernaut was used in this whole story. He basically felt like he was just some plot device and wasn't really feeling like a full character. And I wasn't too keen on the way that they did Claw. I mean, Claw is a being of living energy, but they decided to downplay Claw as a being of living energy in order to move the story forward. This is a little pet peeve I have regarding your Reginald Hudlin and his adaptations. He oftentimes goes and tries to change characters up to fit his view of them instead of letting these characters stay completely true to who they are. Now, this is something he's done in his Icon run right now that's really irked me. But the whole thing is, everything does come together for a fun series with this Black Panther series. And this Black Panther series is one that I definitely recommend you go out here and watch. And I recommend you go out here and watch it because it does really instill a lot of Black pride, and the messages there of Black people standing up for themselves and not being intimidated by whites and non-blacks is a good one. And it's great to see a nation of people who know who they are, have a strong sense of self-worth, and have a strong sense of what they want to do in life. That's one of the things I liked about the Black Panther series, again, was the fact that the characters did have a strong sense of who they are, and have a strong sense of self-worth, and have a strong sense of pride. And that's what you're going to get from this Black Panther series, and you're going to really enjoy this series. I mean, the animation, again, takes me back to those old 1960s Marvel superhero shows I used to watch on the black and white TV when I was living on Park Avenue in the South Bronx. And all of the action in this show is just, again, the pacing is while it's got a bit of a problem, the series is still a lot of fun. And for a 10-year-old cartoon, it is one that you can watch. Well, I can't say you can watch it with your whole family because this series is a bit gritty. So this is one that teens and tweens could definitely enjoy, and it's one you could definitely like. Now, the theme song is a fun theme song, and it's really catchy, and the music in the show was very fun as well. So your Black Panther by Hudlin was a pretty good show, and I'm glad that the viewer directed me to this series so I could give it a review, and you guys could go out here and enjoy it too. Now, the Black Panther series, I believe, is still on the BET channel on YouTube, and it's also on the Marvel channel on YouTube. So if you go out here and type in BET Black Panther, you're sure to go out here and be able to get to see all 6 episodes of the first season. And I'm really sad that they didn't get to do a second season, because I believe they could really have developed some of the plot threads that were left in a second season, and we probably could have gotten Killmonger in a second season. So if you're a fan of the 2018 Black Panther movie, you're definitely gonna enjoy watching the 2011 Black Panther animated series. So my upcoming comic, John Haynes at Death's Door, will be available in 10 days on Kickstarter. So if you want to put in a pledge for that book, be there on June 22nd. And if you want a reminder to be able to put in that pledge, you can go over to the John Haynes at Death's Door preview page and sign up for the email for John Haynes at Death's Door. All of the art for John Haynes at Death's Door is complete. All of the lettering for John Haynes at Death's Door is complete. And all I'm waiting to do is get this project funded, and I'll be able to ship that comic to you, along with a lot of fun and fantastic stretch goal rewards. Now, if you really want to get into the John Haynes character and learn more about him, you can head over to Amazon.com and pick up the previous John Haynes stories before John Haynes at Death's Door. And those include The Temptation of John Haynes, The Man Who Rules the World, John Haynes, A Conversation with Death, John Haynes, Dark Succubus, John Haynes, The Man with Nothing to Lose, and John Haynes, Taking Care of Business. And you can also check out John Haynes' appearances in ISIS series books like Wrath of the Cyber Goddess, Bride of Dracula, Escape from Transylvania, and Revenge of the Cyber Goddess. And if you want to see me do more superhero, sci-fi, or fantasy video reviews, you can donate to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App to request a review of any sci-fi or fantasy project out here. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and e-readers, E-Steam Horror of a Hyena Woman. Hell's Aspiring Angel takes on a wicked werewolf in this action-packed all-new E-Steam series adventure. Get E-Steam Horror of a Hyena Woman in paperback and e-readers today. Now available in paperback and e-readers, ISIS Legacy. Sorority secrets of the goddess next door are revealed in this all-new ISIS series adventure. Get ISIS Legacy in paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere.